first like to thank the Atlanta Hawks organization and Morehouse College Department of Student Life for putting on today's event. And I would also like to thank all of you who took time out of your busy schedules to welcome Vince and Killer Mike to the prestigious grounds of Morehouse College. Hey Rico, I'm gonna need some heat for our special guest. I would first like to introduce our host for this evening's conversation. Grammy award-winning rapper, actor, social activist, political activist, Netflix documentary host of Trigger Warning with Killer Mike, and last but not least, former Morehouse College student. Show some Morehouse College love, y'all, to Killer Mike. That's that classic Killer Mike right there. And now, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce the man of the evening, someone who needs no introduction, the man who's known as half man, half amazing, Vinsanity. In high school, he won Mr. Florida basketball, took North Carolina to consecutive Final Four trips, NBA Rookie of the Year, 8-time NBA All-Star, 2000 NBA Slam Dunk Champion. He revolutionized dunking and the dunk contest and changed North American basketball and pop culture forever. He's the only player in NBA history to play 22 seasons in the league. That's 4 different decades. The man came into the league the year I was born. And he's still playing. He's also a father, a husband, and he's a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Everyone, please put your hands together for the one, the only, Mr. Vince Carter! I just want to thank both of y'all for coming to drop some gems with us tonight. And before we begin the in-depth conversation between you two guys, I would like us to enjoy a spoken word piece performed by 2 Morehouse students, London Stubbs and Kyle Hobson, specifically written for Mr. Carter. Following the spoken word piece, we'll provide a short video highlighting Mr. Carter's career.
Sometimes I wonder what this feeling is.
Is it a bird or a plane or however the saying goes, but I put my arm in the rim that night and left it there. Took baseline and broke bodies below me. The dunks are too easy.
The threes become mediocre. And buzzer beaters become basic. The impossible be possible. This feeling, it makes me feel half man, half amazing. Makes me dream of blow-bys and putbacks. Angry faces after bodies catched.
Or death stares after ankle snatched. Every opponent feeling like mismatch. Everyone is below me. But humble I remain.
I feel like living in the clouds is the norm. I could dance through the sky. Destination always the rim. I open my eyes and I hear my name in chants.
Mama, that's that man.
Vince.
Air Canada. I'm told I inspire.
My jersey is worn by many. My grind continues because the crown they place is heavy. On the ground or in the air, on the court.
Something takes over me. Lock down, clamp up, clap as whatever wannabe point guard brings ball up. As soon as he hits half court, it's give me that and snatchies. ISOs and pullbacks turn to lockups and body snatched.
I'm thankful. because this feeling was born at the rim, but has followed me across courts for the last 22 years.
And will travel with me off.
And will follow me through all eternity. This feeling,
It's Vinsanity.
may it always reign supreme.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Introducing the most impressive.
It's Carter. Oh, yeah.
My mama got religion. I only got my dreams.
It's over. It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
Kidd, 3 seconds. Carter looking for the win. He buries it back in Toronto.
My pride is all I got. Respect is all I want.
Calderon throws it in. Carter in the corner. Got it away.
Oh, this a race, so I'll run. Far from where I begun. Look at the man that I've become.
Carter gets it back to him. And that's it. 25,000.
Let them know we right here forever. We ain't going nowhere to the end of the world.
That's definitely why I did not invite my wife today. Tall, handsome guys who slam dunks for a living, and she'll need to be here. Is that good?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful what you ask God for, because when you were drafted, I remember just, hoping somehow through miracle the Hawks would get you, and 20 years later, God said, ha, finally got around to your prayers. Yes. But I'm very happy to have you here. Before I start asking you questions, could I just like to say, Black man to Black man during Black History Month, you have provided one of the best examples for success.
Thank you.
Oftentimes, as we sit here on the campus of Morehouse College, we hear the horror story as an alternative to normalcy. You hear how the police are bad. You hear how life as a Black man is difficult. You hear all these horror stories. But as I sit here in a home of Black excellence, not only in Morehouse, but the AUC campus in Atlanta and in the state of Georgia, you as a Southerner, a Floridian, have exemplified some of the best of what I thought of Black Southern masculinity in terms of your name has went unscathed. You have been a positive philanthropic force in the community, and you just provided a damn good example for how to keep your nose clean and do things the right way. So thank you for that. And interestingly enough, you graduated with a degree in African American Studies. And I was surprised to find that out, because oftentimes what you hear about college athletes who go on to become pros is they are only in it for money, they didn't care about being degreed, and if they got a degree, it was a degree to teach physical education or sports medicine, right? Not that there's anything wrong with those. But you chose a degree that exemplified the culture of a people that were brought here 401 years ago, in 1619, and now we're here, and yet you chose to not only be the best at what you do and play basketball, be the best and accepted in terms of public figure, but you chose to study who you are. Why did you do that, and why is that important as we sit on the campus of Morehouse?
I want to start off,
Morehouse.
I have to give my family a lot of the credit in instilling student-athlete, not athlete-student, from number one. Always have a plan B, need something to fall back on. These are things I heard all the time, and it's like cliche, yeah, I know, blah, blah, blah. But my entire family are educators. My mom was a school teacher, my dad, my aunties, my first cousin, everybody, grandmother, all educators of some sort. Graduated from Bethune-Cookman College, so that's right down the street from my high school. So I grew up understanding how important education was, and I understood that, yes, I want to become a basketball player. And at the time, times are different. So just think about this now. When you're hearing all of this, this is before social media. All right, remember that. So at that time, that's what it was all about. And understanding if I want to become this professional athlete, well, you got to finish middle school, which you guys know it as, to get to high school. You got to finish high school and to get to college, unless you're fortunate enough to be, at my time, Kevin Garnett, who came right out of high school, to go pro. So I didn't think I was good enough, so I had to buckle down. Now, with all that being said, I was one of those kids, I was willing to try a bunch of sports. to keep my grade point average up. And 2.0 obviously is what you had to keep. That was not accepted in my household. You're not going to be a dumb athlete. So I had to keep a 3.0 or better, or I couldn't play ball. I couldn't play ball. And that's just what it was. And I thought the rest of the world was like that just because, you know, you walk in the house every day. So game days, I'll tell you what a game day was like in high school. I'm the best player in Florida, but I got to go home and do homework first. There was 2 or 3 times where after school, I'm rushing home, doing homework. I get to the game layup line right before it starts. Coach was like, what happened? What happened? Mom was like, he had a lot of homework.
Mom sound like an education mob member.
She don't play.
School happens, sir.
Yeah. And he was like, and so our coach was also, he was our history teacher.
Yeah.
So he got it. He understood it. And it became second nature and understood. It was tough. Obviously, I want to do what everybody else is doing, but at the same time, I had a goal in mind. And obviously my goal was to become a professional athlete, but it was always understood on the path that you don't skip steps. Don't skip steps. As easy as it is to skip steps, like you know, don't skip steps, which got me to where I am today. Today, 22 years later, I didn't skip steps.
I skipped a step. One of the worst mistakes I've made in my life. I sat in Du Bois Hall on the 4th floor, and I decided to drop out of college to pursue music. And I dropped out of Morehouse. And I got a record deal the exact same year I would have graduated college. And to this day, I feel like that was the dumbest decision I've ever made. And I'm gonna go back and finish. I have to, because I attempted to skip a step and did skip the step, but I lost a wealth of experience not doing it. Because the guys who produced Kryptonite and made millions of dollars graduated. They didn't drop out. And I often sat there in the parties while they were playing it like, damn, and CeeLo has his degree. I'm stupid.
That's
so
crazy.
that's an important message. What brought you to the studies of, because a lot of times when you make it, so when you get to Morehouse as a young man, part of the community tells you you've made it. You've made it in the Morehouse. You don't have anything to worry about. But young men at Morehouse choose to dig harder, delve deeper, and on the other side of that, we get young men graduating with degrees in teaching, with degrees in African American history, and with degrees, doctoral degrees and things. And we need that. As a black athlete, #1 athlete, basketball player, and you were a hell of a volleyball player out here in Florida.
And I played in the band.
And got a scholarship to Bethune-Cookman for band.
I was offered a scholarship to Bethune-Cookman as well as FAMU to be in the band.
And in a black school, being in the band is bigger than being an athlete.
What you said?
Drum majors get a lot more girlfriends than slam dunkers in
What
black
you
school.
said?
I
did both on purpose.
You amazing, man.
Hey, and I was a drum major the last year.
You was a little too talented. I'm glad my wife didn't come today. But I do want to say around studies of African American studies, because I was naturally curious, it brought me to people like John Henry Clark. It brought me to Mary McLeod Bethune. It brought me to Zora Neale Hurston, to Langston Hughes. What can we tell everybody in this room, regardless of colors, age, nationality? The African American experience in this country especially has been one that's so rich and vibrant that I feel like the history should be taught from kindergarten up, because it would grow a greater appreciation for all of the public for what we've contributed. So please expound on that.
That's the thing. I found out I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. And as you go through the studies and you learn about true black history, and you're amazed at the creations of the things we see today, where
Air
it started from.
conditioning. You don't have the stoplight.
Yeah, and
the
living
gas mask.
Living in Florida,
Yeah.
you appreciate the air
air
conditioning.
conditioning,
You dig? So
absolutely.
it's like, you're learning about this and it's like, man, this is what it's about. And in my family, I say everybody in my family all graduated from Bethune-Cookman College. So I felt that it was an opportunity for me to continue. I didn't go to a historically black college, but I can still learn about black history. Absolutely. And still fulfill my dream. And my, talking to my mom, and I did say this real quick. I said if I could go to a college like Florida State offered me, opportunity to play. I said if I could go to Florida State to play basketball and FAMU would let me be in the band, I would have gone there to do that.
Wow.
And studied. It's the same way. It's just
Yeah.
my love for music, as you know, and my love for basketball and just all the opportunities. So it opened the doors for me just to understand the history of black people and just better myself, just know who I am and what I come from.
Is there any figure that might be underknown or that might be well known that you think is especially important for Americans to know and recognize?
In my household was Mary McLeod Bethune.
I absolutely, and for those that she believed in a Prowse education, started a college for poor and working class, and all black children, Negro children, and children that weren't black have went there over the years, and one of the most powerful institutions.
Yes, and that's what, my grandmother, first she talked about Mary McLeod Bethune constantly, and then my mom, they're from Miami, moved, once she graduated from Bethune, she stayed there. Wow. And she just, and that's where I grew up, and I was always on the campus, did a lot of work with Bethune, obviously in the band, and just understanding the power and what she was trying to do for young black people.
Well, even in not going to an HBCU, you still got the experience. That's an amazing thing. My grandmother wanted me to go to Tuskegee. They were from Tuskegee, on land in Tuskegee, and I was like, nah, I'm going to Morehouse, bro. They don't have clubs that stay open past 11 o'clock. They got one of the most lit homecomings, so I got to give them that. But I would say from my side, I liked Frederick Douglass. I don't think that a lot of times we understand his without struggle there is no progress.
Sir.
And I really went to Frederick Douglass High School, kind of like going to Black College. I really held on. I appreciate him for that. You went to UNC though, and you put on. Like you brought a lot of
Yes.
You gave Duke and a lot of other colleges the blues, when you were there. What was it like going there, and what were some of the things that don't even have to be African American oriented? What were some of the colleges, some of the memories from colleges or experiences that helped you be a better Vince Carter?
Want to know the funny thing?
Yeah, I want to know.
You've heard of North Carolina A&T?
Of course.
North Carolina Central?
Lit.
So watch this.
Okay.
I used to be on the campus so much that people used to ask me, did I go there? It's like, yo, you go here? I know you play basketball. That's just what I did. Like, I'm on campus with, the black folks there, or everyone, our teammates or whatnot, but I just naturally migrated to Central.
I feel you.
For some reason, I don't know why.
I got an idea why.
But I'm gonna tell you another one.
I have some idea why.
Yeah, but another reason, like I said, so I grew up in music and was in the band, and
Yes.
that's what I knew.
Yes.
So I migrated to black bands, HBCUs when I could, and I would literally go on the campus. I was just sitting at the gate and just watch the bands. Nobody would know. And that's why I was always there. A&T, I'd go up to Greensboro 45 minutes just because it was a big game. They're playing FAM. They're playing Cookman or somebody.
That's absolutely amazing. It's dope too because I spoke at Florida State, and I was asked by students, what could we do? And I was like, honestly, the best thing you could do is make a friend or an ally at FAMU, and to start to diversify the people that you know and hang with, and to make sure that a child who grows up at and around these colleges can replace you at this seat. That's the most important thing. So you actually getting off campus, where I'm sure you are a rock star.
Expanding my knowledge
Exactly.
and the way, the way we operated or moved on campus at Carolina, the average black athlete or black kid is a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just opening my eyes to that, I had appreciation of both.
Absolutely.
Of both worlds. And now when I leave it, like I said, now with my child, who's 14 now, when she goes up, she has a decision to make, but
Absolutely.
that's what I would encourage her to do, just to better yourself.
Yeah.
You choose what you want to, but I say give it an opportunity.
Absolutely. That's a dope story, man. I appreciate you. Let me ask you about, fast forward, you get drafted. You're fifth, right? Get drafted fifth. That's pretty high. So
Traded that night.
And drafted and traded. Got kissed and broke up with the same night.
Same night. I like you, but not that much.
Aside from that draft, what's a pivotal moment in your career that shifted you or grew you or helped you become, again, the successful man that I have here? But when you've had a long career, 22 years, 2 decades, 2 years in, man, that's That's a long time. Mentally, spiritually, and physically, you've endured. So I'm sure you have a lot, but what's one?
Golly. It's easy to pick anything where it was a success story, but one of the ones I'm going to say is some of the struggles. Going through the situation with my agent was one of them.
Yeah.
And just learning how to develop tough skin, believing in yourself. Being traded.
Yeah.
Before that, when Tracy McGrady, I don't know if you guys know, is my cousin, my real cousin.
I asked him backstage.
Yes.
I was like, I got to ask, y'all blood cousins for real.
For real.
That's
And
a lot of greatness. If
And I'll
pop
tell you
out
that
one
story.
day.
But when he moved on to Orlando, it was a lot of controversy between the two of us. Media trying to pit the two of us against each other. Oh, he said this, that, and forth, and then vice versa. And then getting to talk to him, he's like, cuz I didn't say none of that.
Yeah.
And just understanding how the world works and how in this world sometimes you have to be, one of the mottos I live by is think before you act. Think upon it before you act. Think about it before you act upon it. And when you make that decision, be willing to hold your head up high with that decision because you thought about it and you felt it was the right decision. Sometimes it's not always going to be the right decision or work out your way, but you're willing to hold your head up high. And so I just started thinking about this and didn't talk to T-Mac for a while, and I said, you know what, let me just reach out to him, whether he hits me up or not, and to find out, like, it was just media putting us against each other. Then we move on a couple of years, and I get traded and from Toronto and all of that, going back and forth about my lack of love for being there, my lack of love for the game was tested.
Yeah.
And that's when I matured and grew up and started to understand the business of basketball. We all have dreams of becoming whatever you guys want to become. My dream was to become a professional athlete. And you're not really taught about the business of basketball.
Yeah.
And the reality of it sometimes. And the reality of it is I played 22 years, but if you look at the average, I'm sure you probably don't know, it's probably 4 years, maybe.
Yeah.
But we always look on TV every day, and you see LeBron James every year for 10 years, 12 years. Yeah. You see Carmelo Anthony, and all these list of guys for multiple years, so 10 years, but the average is 4 years. And that was tested that I love the game. And for me, I was willing to ask questions. I was never afraid to ask questions. I was never afraid to learn. And because of that, I've stuck around because I learned different routines. I learned how this game works. I learned how this business works. And what it's done for me is being able to come to here today and sit in front of you. And this story, all these opportunities, just like he said he failed because of a decision he made, you're getting this opportunity to hear this so you don't make the mistake. Or maybe you do, but you know how to go about it now. You don't feel lost. Because some of you sitting out there, hey, I have this major, I have this goal, but how do I get there?
Yeah.
And we want to skip steps.
Yeah.
And I was willing to not skip steps. It would just put me here in 22 years of basketball because it's so easy to skip steps. Because now at this time, my name, there's some teams that's like, oh man, you can play as long as you want because you're you. Because you're you. Yeah. I don't accept that. I'm here because I put the work in to be here and I deserve it.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate the gesture, but at the end of the day, when I put that uniform on every day and I look at what it says on the front of the jersey, not really the back of my jersey, I earned it at this age. I'm 43. And I'm still playing against guys who are 20.
Playing great ball, too.
They could be my kids. Appreciate it. They could be my kids. Seriously. So for me, I have to earn it. I got to work at it every day just to keep up. So that list, skipping steps, after a while, if I have a list of 10, 12 things that I do to prepare for the game or just prepare for my season. So now, if I go through a month or two, now I'm only doing 10 of those. I'll come back to that. Now I'm only doing 8 of those. Am I cheating the game or am I cheating myself? Well, I'm cheating myself, which in essence is going to cheat the game. Sometimes we just want handouts.
Let me ask you, because in what you're saying, Man, I got it in working out a couple months ago, and I'm just like, man, I don't see how nobody can do this for a living. This will kill you. So I admire all athletes. I'm gonna tell you what really gets me up and going in the morning, though. In my mind, there's another fat guy across town, and he's competing with me. He's looking at my Instagram every day. He's checking to see if I've been to the Popeyes, and I gotta beat this guy, you know.
He's serious, though.
Yeah, I'm dead serious, too. I'm 23 pounds down. Don't play with me. But a big part of what made me a competitor, my wife says, if you want Mike to do something, tell him he can't. And a big part of the reason I grew to be competitive, which has helped me, because this is my 20th year in the music business, 17th year as a professional, right? So we're old guys, right? And we're rapping. I'm out there rapping with young guys. Like, we're doing Coachella this year. That's a pretty big deal for a couple 40-something-year-old guys. And I've had to understand how much my upbringing has helped. I had two cousins. We were right around the same age. One of my cousins went to Purdue, became an engineer, helped design Corvettes. You know, another one of my cousins went to Savannah State, was an expert pool shark and gambler, and you know, suffers from some schizophrenia and stuff. Now the family caretakes him. But as we were growing up, we would get these calls. Each other's mothers or grandmothers would call. Well, you know, Jimmy made the honor roll. That's good. That's good. Brian made honor roll and principal's list. And Michael made it out of 7th grade. But my cousins and I never let that get in between, interfere with our relationship. In fact, my cousin Brian hit me yesterday. Was like, cuz, I see you opening for Rage Against the Machine. I love you. I want to see you when I come up. And he said, not bad for Truzella's boys. Now, Truzella was our great-grandmother. She had 30 acres of land, and she had a farm in Alabama, her and our great-grandfather, NH, and our parents would drop us off there in the summers. Here you go. Learn how to be boys. And you're just sitting there in the middle of the farm. And then you get to competing about everything. Who can steal the horse? Who can get the well water back? So it really helped me as I got in the music industry to toughen up. And it seems like you and Tracy had that type of relationship, even to the point where you guys were two of the most awesome dunkers in the game. You guys were two of the most amazing players in the game. How much did that relationship with your cousin in relation to these young men who are sitting here next to one another? How important is the saying, steel sharpens steel? That it takes someone who wants to be above or beyond. It takes having that type of friend or comrade to push you, and how much has that relationship helped you in your career?
Okay, so I'm gonna go back. So Tracy and I found out we were cousins the year that he came out of high school, which was my sophomore year of college. Prior to that, we played on the same AAU team in Florida. I played on the older team because I'm older. He played on the younger. I would watch him play. We would admire each other. I'd come early to go watch him play. He'd stay late to watch me play. Never knew we were cousins. He ended up in high school in North Carolina, comes out, and he decides he wants to get ready for the draft, so he needs to play pickup just to get in shape, get in some NBA shape. So he comes over to Chapel Hill where I'm at school. He walks into our locker room. I was like, oh, what's up, man? You know, I remember you from whatever. Nobody would let him use a locker to put his bags in. So I said, go ahead, bro, you can use my locker. You know, I know you from the crib. But, you know, all week we play, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. He's like, hey, man, Friday, I got to go down south for a family reunion. All right, cool. See you when you get back on Monday. Saturday morning, I get a call. It's my grandmother. All right. What's up, Granny? What's up, cuz? What's up, cuz? I'm like, man, who is this? It's T-Mac. What's up, cuz? I'm like, who? T-Mac, like Tracy McGrady's like, yeah. Like, and so basically, he was sitting at the table with my grandmother. His grandmother and my grandmother are related, sisters.
Wow.
That's how we found out we were cousins. So all these years, we would keep in touch and just see each other, never knew we were cousins. Fast forward, he gets drafted, plays a year in Toronto, we still keep up. The next year, I get drafted to Toronto. Then this situation's happened. So now it's like, you get imagine if you have a sibling of any kind, getting the opportunity to do a professional job with your family. It doesn't get any better than that. Learning the ropes with my cousin, because he was just going through it as a rookie the year before. So I always had somebody to fall back on. I had veterans, obviously, but I had a real family member to fall back on. So it's nothing like your family. You always have, you know, they have your back. So going through all of that, it was like, you trying to put my family against each other?
Yeah.
Nah. So that we were able to rely on that alone. Family, the love and support of family was bigger than any media, any beef that they tried to put between us. And it was crazy because we both got caught up in the moment. Like maybe he did. Nah, I'm tripping.
Me and Tip talked about that on his blog. We talked about we've been friends 20 years now. The resisting of envy or the influx of other people's stuff. It's something you got to constantly check yourself on.
Absolutely.
Make sure, because a lot of times the problems that come that other people suggest, it's because you bite the bait. And if you never bite the bait, the problems never grow.
It goes away.
Absolutely.
And it went away because next thing you know, our first meeting, they were like, oh, are they going to have beef? Are they going to speak to each other? And it was like old times.
Exactly.
They were like, we lost that one.
Yeah.
But it made for great rivalry. Our rivalry, like that's one of I'm always asked about competition. It's one of the toughest guys, obviously playing against him.
Yeah.
Well, I played against MJ and Kobe.
Yeah.
So, but
I want to talk about that a little later.
absolutely. But outside of those guys, playing against T-Mac, like, he's my family. So I want to dog my family too, because that's bragging rights too. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew the next family reunion coming up, and all our family there, you can't talk about how you gave me 30 when I gave you 35. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how the rivalry has gone all through our career. And even now, I mean, if you go ask him right now if he can beat me one-on-one, he'll say yeah. But he don't mean it.
Oh, man, excuse my French, but Floridians can talk beaucoup shit, too. It's not good to lose to Florida.
No.
So your family shares you with the world. Mm-hmm. My wife said that to me, in the middle of an argument one time. She was like, I share you with the world. And since she said that to me, I've always been very clear in understanding that she does make a sacrifice. Your family, since you were a young man, has shared you with the world. And in the most grand and prestigious way, you have been a member of our Olympic team. And you have represented America on a world stage,
yes.
Playing a global game. Basketball is truly a global game now. And with the opening up of Africa, it's going to become even more so. What was preparation for the Olympics like? What was playing with the players you played with like? And what did that mean to you, winning the Olympics on the behalf of your country?
Well, story that a lot of people don't understand is originally I wasn't on the Olympic team. I didn't make the cut.
Hold on, so it wasn't just a paved road of gold bricks for you? You didn't just walk on and it was Vinsanity? You had to work for it?
I had to earn that one.
Okay.
So it was down to a guy named Ray Allen.
Y'all might have heard of him.
Y'all might have heard him. So it was down to Ray and I as far as the spot. And they chose Ray. We just so happened to be playing the Milwaukee Bucks that night. And the game started as the announcement was made. So I didn't know, but I wanted to play well. How many points you said? Oh,
yeah, 40, I was going to say
46 or whatever, something like that. Not that I remember, but you can look it up. And I was, but they asked me, and it was just a good night. It was a great night, and it was like, were you trying to make a statement? Yes, I was making a statement to the organization.
Absolutely.
That I deserved to be on it. It so happened to look like I was going at him, but I just wanted them to know that I'm capable and I can, I'm well equipped to represent the team. He made the team, and it was, hard feelings. Obviously, you want to be a part of, but no beef against Ray, because Ray and I are actually very good friends. And I was like, I'll be ready in 4 years. Well, I get the call that Tom Gugliotta got hurt, and they said, hey, would you be interested to play in the Olympic team?
I'm there.
Yeah. So that's how it was. So if you actually look at that photo, I was actually photoshopped in. So every time I look at it, I laugh because it's like you see everybody. And I took the picture by myself, and then I'm photoshopped in, and it looks like a regular picture, like I was there when I actually wasn't.
Together.
Right. So moving forward, so I'm excited, and it felt in my mind awkward because it's like I'm a late ad or whatever, but we had Jay Kidd, Lonzo Mourning, Gary Payton, Ray Allen, Steve Smith, Vin Baker, Allen Houston. So these guys I've obviously played in battle. So I said, for me, I just want to show these guys that I deserve to be here, and y'all made the mistake earlier for not bringing me on.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because now you're going to see what I have to offer. Well, we go through training camp. Next thing you know, I became a starter. I became a go-to guy.
Yes.
And at the end of the Olympics, I was the leading scorer of our team and the go-to guy in the gold medal game.
Yeah. And you show Europeans what slam dunks actually look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up live.
Up close.
Yeah.
Balls
So-
on ears.
So I think I want to go mention that. That was
For
Yeah.
the people who may not understand, too, I know in the past 10, 15 years, Ray Allen was a utilitarian player, came off the bench, murdered your hopes and dreams, sat back down as a sixth man. In Ray Allen, and the person he played is also a person I interviewed years ago. He played for UConn, and they defeated Allen Iverson when he played in college for the national championships. And I asked Ray, how did it feel winning? And he said, bigger than winning, it felt good to deny Allen the opportunity to win. And that's a warrior. It's like when you guys are on that court, it's like rappers, like, I don't care how much I like you. When I'm getting on a song with you, I'm going to ravage you. And I've always reminded
we'll
people.
be cool afterwards.
Yeah, we're going to be cool after, but I'm going to tear you up on that track.
Right, that's what
Yeah,
that's
y'all
what it
heard
is.
the whole world. I don't care
Yeah.
how much you like Stacks and Big. I showed up.
So,
You know? So
He ain't lying.
as a rapper, I definitely feel that. But Ray saying that to me in that moment helped me understand the seriousness. And I got a cheat code, and I grew up with a guy named Cameron Dollar, who subbed for UCLA. He was their point guard when Tyus Etney got injured. Well, Cam's father coached at Frederick Douglass High School, not far from here. It's one of the greatest high school coaches to ever coach in the state of Georgia. His brother ended up coaching at Georgia Tech, and Cam coached down in Seattle. But we, of course, grew up from third grade up together. And Cam was just a tough little SOB, man. You know, he was just mean. He was chubby like me, but he played
Ball.
very good
Yeah, I
ball.
remember.
And I don't mean in a bad way, but he took it seriously. He took basketball as seriously at 9 as I took rap, right? So he ended up winning a world championship, a national championship. I ended up winning a Grammy. So again, that competitive force, keep good competitors around you. But basketball is a tough sport. So for you to say that and to prove yourself against Ray Allen is a bigger deal than people would like.
For sure.
That's a hell of a prove yourself against. You
Yeah.
also proved yourself in the arena against people like Michael Jordan. And my personal favorite is Kobe Bryant. People call me like I was related to him when the unfortunate incident happened because I just was a lifelong Kobe guy. I love
Right.
him. Your generation, you, him, Kevin, you guys proved that very young men can come in. You guys can maintain very mature attitudes, and you guys can be leaders as young men. It's a young man you were a leader with the Raptors. As a young man, Kobe became a leader. As a young man, even Shaq was a leader. What has honed your leadership abilities to allow you to play against people on the court like that, and post getting off the court, you guys to be stellar members of
Playing in that era.
Okay.
Literally playing in that era
Talk to
because
me about that era.
everybody was like that when I walked in. So, you know, playing against MJ, he played for the Wizards, and I was like, man, I'm playing against MJ. We both graduated from University of North Carolina. What's up, Tar Heel? He ain't say nothing. I was like, ooh-wee. This is about to be a rough one, you know. But like he after the game, he was cool, you know. Laid it down for me, gave me gems on how to play the game, how to be a pro. But I learned right then. I mean, it's just a different game, and playing against him being Michael was just like you get to see, like when you talking about absolute killers. Kobe and MJ are the two, by far, the most lethal. And I played with Kobe in AAU basketball, and watching him as a high school kid, his mentality was just the same.
Yeah.
Just the same. And he got to our team late, and he wasn't starting the first couple of games, and next thing you know, he became a starter. And Kobe believed anywhere on the court was a good shot. So his first game, I remember AAU ball. Now we're playing, I don't know if you guys know Tim Thomas. Tim Thomas was about 6'10". He could play point guard, whatever. We were all on the same team. And we were beating people by 65 or better. Kobe's first game comes up, he's playing the point guard. Gets to about half court, he shoots it. We're like, what the? Air ball. He's like, oh, don't worry about that. Like, you're like, what? Hey, bro, step in a little bit. You know, that's it, step in. And he's like, nah, man, I can make that. 2 shots later, he starts hitting threes from there. I mean, his mentality was, I'm a late ad, but I'm gonna be the best player. And we were a competition. So that's why we beat teams like we did. So when you had a matchup and you had the ball, I wanted to prove that I was worthy enough to be the go-to guy.
Yeah.
Because I know if I didn't get it done, that guy was gonna get it
Gonna
done.
get it done.
You see what I'm saying? So getting to play him against in the league, and like I said, you would think we grew up playing against each other in the NBA, man, I tell you what, everything they say about that guy is real. Like he loved the game, and he didn't love you. That's just, and that's the Mamba mentality. It's like, my mentality is kill you.
I saw
Literally.
that. I saw that in you doing the slam dunk contest. I remember I walked around for years like Dominique got robbed, right? So there was a contest in '87, '88, I think. Dominique Wilkins was a human highlight film. Michael Air Jordan was Air Jordan. Air Jordan got picked up by Nike. Dominique Wilkins didn't do the Nike deal and went with Brooks. Every 13-year-old kid was like, that's not the move, Dominique. That's not the move to make. But he showed up in Chicago and he showed his, as old people say, natural black butt.
He did.
He was a fool. And I
Yeah.
feel like he got robbed by 1 or 2 points, and that's just what that is. The only person.
He still talks about that to this day.
Oh, yeah, he was
like
robbed.
It happened last year.
Absolutely, he was robbed. He was
Yes.
robbed, absolutely. Mike, that's why Mike won't talk about it. Mike knows he was robbed too. But the only other competitor I've seen worthy of an argument for who put on a better display is you. And the barbershop, of course, people know I own barbershops. The barbershop reached an argument and consensus that Michael Jordan was not the greatest dunker, that not even Dominique was the greatest dunker, and not even Kobe, but Vince Carter. And it was won by a guy named Nasilo Reddick. He's one of the co-founders of the app called Convos. Y'all check it out, it's pretty cool. But CeeLo and him and Chamillionaire. CeeLo was like, when is the last time you seen a kid dunk a ball, put his entire arm in it, and hang and look at the crowd? And as I thought back, I went back and looked, and I was like, really, this is the most amazing I've ever seen in my life. So at what point do you break it to your agent, your mother, and everybody else whose life depends on you playing well? I'm going to take the most precious piece of my body besides the legs.
It was my right arm
and
at
then,
that.
Yeah, and I'm going to dunk and stick it in the goal, potentially tear a tendon. Like, it was one of the most amazing displays of arrogant hip-hop, North
Stupidity.
Florida, I can do what I want to do. It's my life, man. What brought you to the decision?
They didn't know.
Because it hasn't been as good since you.
Hey,
I gotta be
individually,
honest.
maybe. There's been some good battles.
I didn't say good.
No.
I said hanging like a
No.
clothes hanger.
What you said.
On the rim, looking at it. It was amazing. It was like realizing Steve Harvey didn't have hair. I was amazed. I was in awe.
So I'll tell you, nobody knew.
I didn't know.
I made that up that night. So we'll start there.
That was a freestyle.
Very much. So I backtrack. That day, so leading up to it, everybody had their own car, and it was in Oakland, so everybody stayed in San Francisco. So for those who've been over there, trying to get over the bridge is brutal. Our car didn't show up. T-Mac and I were supposed to go together. Our car didn't show up. So now we're late going to the dunk contest, the practice. So everybody had a practice session. So during the three-point contest is when you're supposed to, the beginning of the three-point contest, the dunkers are back there practicing last, whatever. We borrowed someone else's car, whoever it was, I don't know. We just jumped in and was like, yo, we need to get over to the arena. He was like, bet, cool. We get over there, get to the arena, we miss our practice time. So I didn't even get to practice. So I'm like, oh man. Like I studied.
We're cold.
Yeah, basically. So I studied all these years. Wait a minute. So I studied all these years watching the dunk contest and what guys are doing and how they go and dunk and what they're trying to accomplish. Like I break the game down to a little different than the average person you would ever talk to about dunk. So now I'm like, I get there late, the three-point contest is over, and I'm like, I didn't get to practice. This is gonna be a disaster. T-Mac didn't want to do it anyway. So once we get there, the car's late, he's like, cuz, this is the sign. I don't need to do it. I'm out.
Down Thomas, down T-Mac.
He just like, bruh.
And you like,
Because he didn't want to do it.
Gotcha.
I'm out. So
I
when we
wouldn't
get
want to
there,
dunk against you anyway.
and he was like, that's what he's like, what's the point in dunking for second? I was like, you never know. Let's give him a show.
You wanted to drag your cousin. You wanted to drag your cousin. You wanted to call your auntie like, look what I did to your son. Look what I did, auntie. I drug your son.
But I'm going to tell you the truth. Because I had a lot of respect for the dunkers in there. And I knew T-Mac being in that dunk contest was going to make me go to another level because of our battles that we have on video games at the time, one-on-ones, everything. So he didn't see it. He was like, okay, we going to battle, but
I got you.
I ain't going to get to the upper room, you know. So we get there, and they said, you guys missed your dunk time. He said, I'm out. I'm not doing a dunk contest. I was like, you are doing it. He's in. So we get to the layup line, actual warm-up, so we get like 5 minutes of warm-up. That's when I actually got my warm-up time, literally right before the dunk contest. So the routine that I was actually going to do, I'm going through it. I'm like, this ain't going to work. This ain't going to win. This is a losing routine. So I was just so hype and just in the moment, seeing like all my peers and all these guys that, you know, KG going crazy before him because we came out of high school the same year. So he was already like, bruh, y'all ain't got a chance. You ain't got a chance, blah, blah, blah. So, and then Shaq, you know, he was my neighbor in Florida. So all these people I see, Antoine, my college teammate, sitting right there, he's like, man, give these boys a show. So I was like, I got you. But I said that, but I didn't know what I was going to do.
Gotcha.
So the routine that you actually got to see was made up right as the contest started.
And you've never told another journalist this?
Until just recently.
Okay.
Just recently.
Who was it? Who'd you tell? Like Mark Spears or someone?
Mark, yeah, he's
Okay,
one of
if you
them.
told Mark,
and my
I can live it.
podcast, I said
Okay,
on my
okay.
podcast too.
Yeah, all right.
So,
all right.
yeah.
If you got Shannon Sharp that one first, I didn't want to battle with the GOAT, man. You know what I'm saying? Shay.
So that first dunk, the reverse 360, I had tried a couple of times, practicing 2 weeks before that, but I could barely make that dunk, or I was getting hung. Like I had scratched that weeks ago. I was like, I can't do it. But something about that night, seeing all those people in there and the buzz and just the feeling, I was on 10,000. Like I was just like, all right, well, and it's funny you said like the killer mentality. I said, well, everybody's coming here to win or think they're gonna win. You know, everybody's like, oh, he can win. You know, Vince, whatever. But if I don't make the dunk, it's a ball game for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I said I'm swinging for the fence, and that's the dunk I tried. And when I took the last dribble, jump in the air, and I turn around. So I did the 360, obviously the opposite way. When I turned my head around, you know, looking for the rim is the challenge, while still for me doing a full windmill. So I want my arm fully extended. Yes. But when I turned around, this is what it looked like. So I turned around, obviously I turned this way, the rim is like right here. I was like, oh no, you know, this is nothing. So that's why my thing was I wanted to add MJ's grace with Dominique's power.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And put the two together, but still doing acrobatics in the air.
Absolutely.
So that was just what I was thinking. So every dunk, I had a goal in mind. Not just I'm about to go dunk and then, y'all cheer and give me a 10. Yeah. And I had a goal in mind. So I wanted to show you that I could jump in the air while doing a full windmill, but going the other way, but still being high enough. So if you notice when I dunked it, I landed and I jumped up again. I probably could have dunked it again. I was just so hyped and animated. So I wanted to wow you on that dunk.
You did.
The second dunk, I wanted to show you that I can take one step, I can jump away from the rim, I can do a windmill, and still dunk the ball, which I set the bar so high for number one, number two. Okay, you were like, oh, okay, cool, all right. That didn't do you? All right.
Actually, we were going insane in the living room.
Right. So, so the third dunk, I was like, all right. They said, so we missed our practice, so we didn't know you had to work with a teammate. It's like, yeah, you have to do a dunk with a teammate. What? So that's when T-Mac bounced the ball. We've never practiced it. We made that up on the spot.
Amazing.
The reason I did the between the legs dunk 2 weeks prior, I saw East Bay Magazine.
Yes.
For those who are old enough. Is it still
East
around?
Bay, hold on. East Bay is where poor kids used to get Jordans. Because if you went to Foot Locker, you would be robbed.
Okay, I told myself. So East Bay, there was a man in there in the still shot on the jump soles. He had his leg between his legs.
Yeah.
It was a still shot. I saw that flipping through the pace. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Whatever. That night, I happened to remember, I'm going to try that. And that's how it was. But I had to use a teammate. So I said, I never practiced it. I didn't know how high I wanted the ball to bounce, where I needed to go. So I just said, hey, bounce the ball and get out the way. He's like, huh? I said, yeah. So the first one he bounced it too high. So I figured in my mind, if he can just bounce the ball waist height, everything else was cool. Now, let me add to that. On my right finger, 2 weeks prior, I had just had stitches in my finger because I dropped the weight like that and split all the fat pad out of my finger. So my middle finger is stitched up. So if you go back, you'll see a big bandage on it. So I didn't know if I could pass the ball in between my legs. Oh, it's my left hand, sorry. I didn't know if I could pass the ball in between my legs and dunk it or not. I didn't even factor all of that. So he said, cuz, what are you gonna do? I said, bounce the ball this high, get the hell out the way. He's like, you're crazy. I was like, all right, we'll see. I was like, I am. So when he bounced it, I just went up there and just use my imagination and dunk. So that's where It's Over came from, because I was like, I made this stuff up that night and I am making it. Y'all don't have a chance. You know what I'm saying? It's over. So it was just, it was just like, just ad lib. Like, it's just what you feeling. Like, I was just trying stuff that night and it worked out. So I get to the last dunk, which you were talking about, the arm and the rim. So prior to that, I played in a Gary Payton's charity game, and I was just in the layup line, jumping over the rim, just putting the ball in. So I was like,
Hold on, you said it pretty casually. You said you were at the layup line, jumping over the rim.
And just dropping it in.
That volleyball played off in high school.
It sure did, no lie. So I was in with Katino Mobley, who was
I know Katino.
Steve Francis's teammate in the dunk contest.
Yeah.
So I go up to him, I said, you remember the layups I was doing? Because he was at the game. I said, I'm going to do that. He's like, oh, okay, cool. I said, but I'm going to hang up there. I'm going to put my arm in it, so like that. So I want to see if I can go farther in. But then I was like, well, if I don't get high enough, I'll fall off and break my arm. The last thing my coach said, he said, don't go up there and break your arm, is what he said to me. He said, I'll be on the lake, I won't see it, but I don't want to get a call her that you broke your arm or something.
Yeah.
So I think about that. So I've never done this before. I made it up, so I'm like, I'm trying to walk it off of by time. So I stand up under the rim. Lord, let this stupid decision work out, is what I said.
That was me in Du Bois Hall when I dropped out.
And
let this stupid decision work out, Lord.
Please. So I'm trying to walk it off because I didn't know which way to come from. So, all right, I walk it off, buying time. I said, all right, I'm ready. And the last thing I did was I rubbed my arm, like, here goes nothing.
Yeah.
So, sidebar, what I wanted to accomplish is show you that I can jump really high to be above the rim, arm above the rim, and then, obviously, something you've never seen before. But when I put my arm in the rim to hang in there, if you go back and look, now you'll go and see I closed my eyes. Well, that's because I was scared. I thought it was gonna fall off for one. But for two, I wanted silence. So when you see me up there, you're like, what's going on? So when I was holding on there, I was listening and I wanted to hear nothing. So Shaq's reaction is what I wanted.
Yeah.
It's like you want to say oh, but you can't get it out.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
Took the air out the room.
Right. So when I hung up there and then I jumped down, and as I walking away, I had my head down. And I was like, yes. It worked. Now, I get to the bench. I never looked up. I looked straight at the bench, and obviously one of the judges said something to me. And when you see it on the replay, you realize what you just witnessed. And the ooh and ah would happen. And that's what I planned out within that time of walking by, praying and rubbing. I tried to plan all that out, and it worked out. So I say the mentality was to go get them because I wanted to set the bar from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I was going to do after that. So I wanted to scare everybody, and hopefully they go miss a dunk trying to do something to match that when I believed in my ability, but I didn't know where my ability was going to take me.
Yeah.
So that dunk contest could have gone one of two ways.
Very good or very bad. And it sounds like it went very good because of a lot of stuff that had nothing to do with a dunk contest. You were a superior volleyball player. Yeah. You were competitive in a friendly way with a family member.
That started as a challenge.
Yeah.
I walked into the gym one day and said, hey, I'm going to try out.
So accept challenges.
And did, and ended up being player of the year
That's amazing.
in volleyball.
That's
So
amazing.
Mike,
One of the first black
hit
kids.
us up with one last question for it.
Oh, we got one last one?
One last question. We
Oh,
can do this
man.
all day because I know y'all are dropping gems on
Hold on.
everybody, and it's so inspiring. It's amazing, but we gotta go.
Okay, so look, can I do it in the two? And it kind of makes sense.
Okay.
So I witnessed you, beyond being one of my favorite players, you're one of my favorite human beings. Because in the times that I've gotten to see you interact with young men, you have given amazing advice and gems. And I saw you do that in the middle of the cold after practice in front of an Outcast mural in which I saw you tell a bunch of young Hawks players, you're playing in a black city. That means something. There's history here. That means something. And you are here to be a part of the history, and that means something. And you and Coach Pierce put that together with the support of the ownership that ain't all black, that's white. And I admire that about the Hawks as an organization. I admire that about the coach, and I admire that about you as a player. You have financially taken care of yourself in a way in which you can be philanthropic, and you have an organization. That organization is called the Embassy of Hope. What financial decisions have you made that made you a better person to be the best person you can be for Embassy of Hope?
Put myself on a budget, first of all. You know, I had that moment when
Hold on, you're a baller. You're on a budget?
I balled on the budget.
Could you teach rappers that?
We can try.
They need to know.
Young guys
Negroes need
too.
to know.
But no, and I'll be the first to admit, I got that opportunity to see millions for the first time. Man,
Mess it up.
I didn't, but you know, and I didn't know how to act. But I was fortunate. My mom said, "All right, now
Yeah,
you're gonna have millions a day. You'll be a broke Negro tomorrow."
that's real.
And it made sense to me. But it's like so the first thing I started was my foundation. Before
Embassy
I
of
bought my
Hope.
first car,
Embassy
I
of
started my
Hope.
foundation.
That's amazing.
And then I got a car, and then I got my mom a house. And then after that, you know, I was in the, you appreciate this. I came in the big jury era, where everybody had the big chunk chains and
Yeah.
everything. Like
Big ugly stuff.
everything was gaudy. Yeah.
Looked like a Jagged Edge
So,
video, everybody.
what you said. So yeah, like Flavor Flav, like
Yes,
that. Yeah,
yes.
exactly. So I had to get a little bit of that, which I still have. And I look at them like, whoo, boy, I'd kill them with this, but they wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
But I was just caught up in that. And then after a while, it was just like, you know, I learned at an early age to set myself up for the future. And I was fortunate enough to have a lot of money to play with, to do so. But at the same time, I lived like I didn't have it.
Absolutely.
So I could have it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it humbled me, and it always kept me working harder, because it's like, that's why I said earlier, it's like, I appreciate, you know, you giving me a spot, but I want to earn my spot.
Yeah.
And then when you earn it, you appreciate it later. Like everything that I've gotten, I appreciate it because it wasn't given to me. Like, I earned the right to have a phone call from different organizations in the summer saying, we are interested in having you, 42, 43-year-old play. That's because I put the work in and I was willing to do it.
Well,
So let me say, I say for you guys, whatever your goal is, you can reach it, but it's not gonna be easy. And sometimes that door is gonna close on you. Y'all heard this word called perseverance? Okay, here's another thing I want you to work on. Be a self-motivator. Don't always need somebody else to have to motivate you to go to work, have to go to class. Because if you rely on somebody else, that means you want somebody to give you something. And you'll get it sometimes from somebody giving to you, but that don't mean you're gonna appreciate it, and that don't mean you're gonna keep it for long. Because when you earn your own, you wanna keep your own. You ain't trying to lose it. You see what I'm saying? So that's just how I approach my life. Like, I'm earning everything. So when I walk away from this game, everything I earn because of the work I put in. I didn't skip steps. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I say for y'all, more so than anything we talked about. Don't skip steps. Don't skip steps. And it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy at all, but you're gonna love it. You're gonna appreciate the grind, and it's gonna make you a better person, whether you come up with millions or not.
Thank you, man. I want to thank you as a black man. I want to thank you as a basketball player. I want to thank you as a person proficient in African American studies. As a Southerner, thank you. I think amongst the gems we've picked up today, perseverance is one. Keeping yourself on a budget, taking care of yourself is one. being philanthropic. I would just like to thank you for being the black man that my grandmother told me all black men are supposed to be. I sincerely love and respect you, brother. I pray that we keep you beyond being a player. Hope we give you a great job and you stay in Atlanta the rest of your life and contribute to the greatness that this city is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you guys
Absolutely.
for coming out and listening.